Good morning and welcome in to another winning episode of the Bearcat Brunch, brought to you by our wonderful partners at Royal Links Golf Tours. Have you always wanted to play golf at St. Andrews? Have you ever enjoyed that perfect pint of Guinness in Ireland? Well, now you can with Royal Links Golf Tours. They are a golf tour specialist, offering unforgettable golf experiences to Scotland, England, Ireland, and Wales. Their custom itineraries are more than golf trips. They are immersive cultural and country experiences that will surprise and delight you both on and off the course. Royal Links Golf Tours is owned by former Bearcat quarterback Hayden Moore and his partner, UC alum Jeff Bartholomew. So if you'd like to play St. Andrews or Ballybunion and enjoy that perfect pint in Ireland, please visit their website at royallinksgolftours.com or call them at 770-331-1525. And with that, we are back in the Cincy Light studios. Hope everybody drank a ton of Cincy Lights yesterday at the watch party at the Holy Grail. Great weather, great game, great day of football, but we start, as always, with a Bearcats win, 37-34 at Kansas. The first place Big 12 Cincinnati Bearcats, as always, joined by my partner, Jeff. Aaron doing a wonderful job producing, as always. Jeff, as we do every week, what is your biggest takeaway from this, we'll just call it what it was, offensive victory for the Bearcats? Not offensive victory for the Bearcats.
There's quite a few things to be excited about. I think we'll probably touch on hopefully all of them over the next little bit here, but really, the end of the first half, like, it's something that we haven't seen.
There were so many many firsts. It felt like
it did, and I know that, usually this is a lot easier for me to just pick out one little thing to gripe about. And I'm not even gonna do that today. I'm excited. I'm just gonna go with, I thought Sorsby looked like the Sorsby that we hoped to see more often thus far and throughout his time here, where it seemed like there have been flashes of it for parts of games. I think maybe aside from kind of some throwaway game, the games that are against teams that we can't really learn one thing,
Sure.
anything one way or another. Maybe Texas Tech, maybe is that, or maybe Arizona State, even though that was maybe part of that game.
The Arizona State game wasn't hey man,
a complete game.
This is the way this game's going to go. We just need to put it kind of not on your back individually, because they still ran the ball well and things of that nature. But yeah, this was the first of hey, they scored, we got to go score, and kind of just get into that back and forth old style Big 12 1,000 total yard type of affair.
Was it 1,200 total yards? I think is what.
It was a lot. We'll get into the details.
It was 1,200 on the nose. Actually, I believe
we'll get into the details of the numbers, but yeah, this was the Brendan Sorsby, and this was the weapons upgrade that everyone had hoped we would see, and obviously we didn't see it in week 1. What you saw in games 2 and 3 didn't portend anything for the rest of the season, really. But this was what you wanted to see. I thought the coaching staff, I thought Coach Satterfield very early on took on a very aggressive mindset, which I felt was right. He had a good read on how this game was going to go, with some early fourth down calls. They were 3 for 3 on fourth down in general. Offense was 10 for 19 on third and fourth down. I'm almost just going to start lumping in third and fourth down together instead of just looking at third down conversion rate, because teams just go for it on fourth down so many times now. You're you're getting in a lot of situations where you basically are playing as if you have 4 downs. So I don't really think there's a reason to differentiate the two.
Yeah.
But he kind of took that mindset from the go, and maybe it had to do with giving up a 93-yard touchdown on Kansas's first play. We'll get into all of that. But yeah, I mean, we saw what we had hoped to see from the offense, from Brendan, from the receivers, from just the continuation of when you saw something working, they kept going to it. I thought, I wouldn't really call it the middle of the field, but like from the hash marks to the numbers was wide open all game. Whether it was down, down the field, whether it was coming across the field, like the plays to Cyrus Allen early in the second half, basically almost felt like the exact same play 2 times in a row, where he just runs by defensive backs looking at Joe Royer or looking in the backfield for some reason. I mean, you see him throwing the ball. There's no reason for you to be staring in the backfield. But you finally saw kind of the offense that we had wanted to see. And we'll get into the game on paper numbers, which are, pretty hilarious that you win
Ludicrous.
a game with the numbers that Kansas put up. But, these are the games. You mentioned it. End of the first half. End of the game. Being on the right end of a game when it's nip tuck, and things, you forced one turnover. It was obviously a huge turnover. You get a couple first downs, you flip the field, they go down and score, but you still, that's a momentum play there that they make, and changes the way the game goes because the time becomes different and everything. And you get the win, you get out of there, and now you're home for 3 out of your next 4. Iowa State, very good, but I don't want to play the look-ahead schedule game, but like UCF at Oklahoma State, Baylor at home, you play like this, you work on a few things defensively, and who the hell knows. Morning Crypt Keeper, thank you for joining us. Thanks to everyone that always joins us. I do want to this game was, obviously you watch the game and you're like, this is a very close game. It's a very back and forth game. Both teams had 10 drives. Both teams' starting field position was exactly the same, their own 28. UC gained 60.3 yards per drive. Kansas gained 62.7 yards per drive. UC gained 84% of their available yards, and Kansas gained 87% of their available yards. Like, it's very, very, very hard to have a game where those numbers are virtually identical.
Well, but then it ends up in a situation where the score is virtually identical at the end.
Yeah.
What else you got a lot of green. I know we people should be pretty familiar with game on paper at this point. But if you're new and you aren't,
I'll throw it up.
We do use game on paper quite a bit.
So yeah, we're looking.
There you go.
Kansas runs 55 scrimmage plays and has a 98 or 99 percentile in EPA per play, yards per play, EPA per drop back, yards per drop back. It was there was a lot of big plays out there. And you see the same. Very high in all of these categories.
Yards per drop back, almost 16.
Yeah,
for Kansas.
That was basically a shade under what UC did against Northwestern State, to put that into a little bit of perspective.
The kind of the glaring difference there, that EPA per rush, that looks to be the difference in the game.
Yeah, you have the, it's bad tackling. We'll get into the. I don't care to spend a ton of time on the officiating. Whatever.
We don't have to.
There were some mind-numbingly missed calls. Whatever. You see one. Whatever. Having 4 touchdowns taken off the board in the red zone is unbelievable. Missing some of these face mask calls, but like the drive at the end of the half, I don't think UC was necessarily like trying to go into the half with and sit on it, but like you've got like Kansas has got to make tackles there on the Evan Pryor run. But yeah, I mean you ran the ball well. I do want to point out too, on the last drive, since we're still on offense, when UC got the ball down roughly the red zone, I'm speaking specifically to the Tyree Walker run. I'm sitting there going, they have one timeout and there's like 20-something seconds left. You're down 3, so you're obviously not playing for the field goal, but you're in position to, or not. It was more than 20-something seconds because they scored with 29, so it had to be in like the 30-something, early 40-second range. I'm sitting there going, they can still run the ball because of having a timeout, because of a first down stops the clock. You're already in field goal range. I know they were still spreading them out, but like the Kansas alignment on that play, it begged you to run the ball. And I give another hat tip to Coach Satterfield for running the ball there, because I think there were 4, maybe 5 guys in the box. And we saw, Tyree gets it down to essentially the 2, whatever it was.
You're speaking to the end of the game here.
Yes, the end of the game. But I mean, it's like the play call outside of one drive where we were humming offensively, throwing the ball, and then we just ran it 3 plays in a row and punted. I can't think of anything that stands out. And then conversely, like staying on the aggressive, staying with the passing game, and then at the end of the game, seeing that they're for some reason like playing 90% pass when you're down there and not really understanding time and situation, then changing and going, we're going to run it here, made total sense.
Do you think they were pretty well convinced on the broadcast that Kansas let them score there?
I don't think they did. Watching the play over, listening to Lance Leipold after the game, I'm not sure if he would admit it. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't admit it. I mean, you'd be like, yeah, we let him score because we needed to get the ball back. If we didn't let him score,
we haven't had an issue moving the ball down the field to get our own game. I think
you saw something very interesting about Jalen Daniels in this game. But that's for the deep when we get. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they did, because when you just watch the way that the defensive players played the play, they weren't playing the play as to just like stand there and let them go through. I mean, they played the play as if they were trying to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a couple schools of thought on
winning,
that.
Like you're winning the game.
Yeah, you're up 3. Like even if you hold them there, like if you force the field goal, like then you're giving yourself the opportunity.
If they fumble like you just did on the 1 yard line. I mean, like I'm not letting the team score there that's losing the game.
Yeah, I just asking the question here.
No, I know, because other people. I'm sure other people were having the same thought. That's just not how I would see it being played out. To do that when you're losing. And a turnover or a missed college kickers, like anything like that can happen at the end of the game. Yeah, I mean, Leroy mentions like could have had another. We've had several penalties at the 2-yard line. Who knows what happens? I mean, that's like I'm not. No, I don't feel like there's any way that they let that happen. Staying offensively, I thought Kansas had come into this game one of the top teams in the country in pressures, in tackles for loss, in sacks. I thought the offensive line as a whole did a pretty good job. I do have, the Buford concerns are valid. On the first drive, he basically whiffs on 2 blocks, has one holding penalty that I thought was absolute garbage. Had another, down inside the 5, had another.
You talking about the one where he essentially just like the guy just like crumbled to the ground in front of him, and
when you're inside on a guy, you see that all the time. Like it's, I mean, Golick even talked about I don't remember what he called the exact
trap.
technique.
He called it like a trap block.
Yeah, I mean that's a block. I mean, you're inside on the guy, he's extending his arms. You essentially just pull him down. The one earlier was definitely a hold, which I don't understand. I mean, it's just muscle memory. Like, you don't even need to do that though in that situation, because you're running back. If you don't get in, it's first down. I mean, it's like, I think it was first down.
Yeah.
What are you holding for? But on the whole, I thought they did a really good job. I mean, Sorsby had to scramble a couple times, throw the ball away a couple times, but that's going to happen against the D line that has been aggressive, and that you're dropping back 30-something times to throw. So, I was a little surprised that Ethan Green didn't get. I don't think he got any snaps, did he? As they had been rotating in previous games, I was a little surprised that I'm not sure if he got in, but the thing.
If he did, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I didn't either, so I didn't notice.
Just looking back through it,
and I kept trying to check it out based on thinking that maybe Buford was having some struggles, that they might make a change there for a series or two, but. No, I think they did another really, really good job. We ran the ball for over 200 yards in a game that was heavy on the pass, and you still were able to use the run to do some good things. The receivers we saw, man, like, that's what we wanted to see. Even down to like Noah Jennings. I mean, obviously the catch Noah Jennings had, that's the game. I mean, point blank, that's the game. Fourth down to make that catch. I mean, that's such an insane catch when you think about it. Like, you're running to your left, having to look back to your
back over your left shoulder.
Back over your left shoulder, and you catch it with your right arm. Like, so the ball has to essentially like travel over your helmet, and somehow,
and you stop it out here and bring it back in, and like to make that, like, to be in that situation, right? Like, it's one thing to make that catch like in the first quarter, or like going into the half,
to make that catch
or
in
like
Nippert Stadium in April.
Right. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's one thing to make it there, but like in that situation, for him to turn him and have the ability to go all the way down to, and you say all the way down, but I know that, like Chad mentioned it, I think last night or whatever, like, that he was pretty high on Jennings since forever. But like, to be able to make that catch there and just haul it in, get your first down, and keep the game alive. Potential. I think Aaron said keep the season alive yesterday. And
Possibly. I mean,
yeah, like,
it would be too hyperbolic, but I mean, it would if you don't win that game yesterday, it just falls into another narrative of, couldn't get it done in crunch time. Yeah, the commenter is right. Kansas, it was. Yeah, we won by 3, not 4. So, it just falls into another narrative of couldn't get it done. Had the chance to go down and win the game, just like the Nebraska game. Couldn't make the plays. We'd be looking at several other different reasons why. We'd probably be spending a lot more time talking about the defense than we would be about the offense. But yeah, I mean, it was a huge play. Isaiah Johnson made couple nice plays. I mean, credit to Sorsby. I don't feel, even though Cyrus Allen got the bulk of the attention, like, he never felt like he was hunting any particular player, any particular route. Like, he stayed true to his reads and his progressions. And I just think that the offensive, especially in the passing game, was about as good as we've seen it in the last couple of years. Do you have anything else you want to hit on offensively?
No, I mean, I just kind of want to reiterate what you were just saying right there, and that's something that, like, if we go all the way back to like when he got here and some of those first starts that he was making, and even though it was against whatever, like, I distinctly remember talking about how we were happy with the fact that, like, he wasn't like, okay, this is wide receiver one, like, I'm locked in here. Like, he has always been like that, where when he's at his best, he is looking through everything and spreading the ball out and not just like zeroing in his mind on one guy, or like, I have to get it to this person. It has been where I just needed to get it to the guy that's open.
And it certainly helps when you have an offensive line that has done a good job protecting
you time.
It gives you time to do that. I mean, that's probably the biggest benefactor of that, is you can have a quarterback who sees it and wants to do it, but we also saw at the end of when guys couldn't, and guys are getting open.
Yes.
Like we saw at the end of last year that he was taking off a lot earlier, and because of various, guys couldn't get open, or if the pass protection was breaking down. So we're seeing now when all those things kind of link together that what's possible for the passing game.
Yes.
Defensively, I'm frustrated because they did the thing that I don't want to see anymore, which I just don't think. Now, you get out with the win. Antoine Peak makes a huge play, but other than that, like, Dante Corleone is out. Like, let's start there. Like, it's a huge factor, no matter how I want to phrase it or how we want to talk about defensive philosophy. I mean, when you have your best defensive player doesn't play, it's going to change some things. But I just get frustrated because I don't think it's a winning formula to just not be, and I'm not saying like be reckless, but if you're not going to be a little more aggressive, if you're not going to play a little bit more man, or if you're not going to bring your DBs up a shade more and give multiple looks and send pressures, then you can't then expect, like, we can't then as fans sit here and go, why aren't they getting turnovers? Why aren't they getting sacks? Why isn't the other team in 3rd and long? Because as a defense, you're not doing things to put them into those spots.
Yeah.
It's like if you don't play some more man, or aren't a little bit more aggressive with your DBs, or you don't bring a little bit more pressure, then there's no way you're going to force turnovers. There's no way teams are going to get into 3rd and long. They don't correlate with each other. There's no connection to those things. So, I think the 2 long touchdowns were the first one. Obviously, McDoom is just looking in the backfield, which I don't get. When the guy that ended up with 200-something yards, if we talked about it on Wednesday night that he has like 4x the targets of anybody else and is clearly their best, fastest receiver, then I would think that the team would know that. So to be caught looking in the backfield on the first play is pretty egregious. And then on the other touchdown in the middle, I know if people wanted to focus on Barnes, I think Barnes was in the right spot. I think that was a Sanks problem. When they showed the replay from the sky cam, which props to TNT, and we'll get into TNT, but for TNT to have a sky cam, on the snap, he just flies up the field. And maybe he was supposed to, I don't know. But a tight end does kind of a bend route to come out towards the numbers, but he just flies up the field, which completely vacates where that throw went. Barnes is the opposite side safety. That ball is in the middle. He comes flying up, and you almost saw it from the way Barnes reacted, like twisting his body, because the ball was probably thrown earlier than maybe he anticipated because of the space that was there, because Sanks flew up and there was a monster gap, and then he's kind of, Barnes is then in turn a little bit out of position and has to twist and goes, isn't able to make the tackle. But like, Kansas got him on a couple times with what they do, which that's going to happen. You know, a lot of movement. The one pass to the tight end where he's on the right side of the formation, basically stalk blocks, pretends to block, slips out, you know, to the whole other left side, and then there's nobody within 30 feet of him. I mean, that stuff is just going to happen against Kansas, but again, just a lot of free releases, a lot of guys open. Not a lot of pressure. I think one sack, not a lot of pressure overall. Jalen Daniels is gonna make some plays. I mean, he made a great play to elude Golday, and I forget who the defensive lineman was. That
talking about when Golday got shoved in his back.
Had a better shot. The defensive lineman probably had a better shot initially, but guy's gonna make some plays. He's gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
But just on the whole, philosophically, that I'm gonna stop complaining or stop even talking about a lack of turnovers, a lack of disruption if that's how we're gonna play defense. Because it's disingenuous to go, why can't we do this?
When that doesn't seem to be the like when you don't put yourself in a position for those things to happen in the first place.
Right.
Like you're not gonna get those. I mean, even really like the fumble, like the turnover that was created there. That's just kind of a result of it being on the goal line and he just punched the ball out. I mean,
Peak just makes plays.
Nothing.
I mean,
that wasn't anything that put any extra pressure on Kansas in some kind of special way. That was just a goal line play. Like it was a great goal line play. Like don't get me wrong, but it wasn't anything like outside of the ordinary or a wrinkle that got thrown their way that created some chaos and a bad pass or a bad exchange of the ball or anything like that. It was just a great play. So
I mean, Kansas had a negative EPA rushing the ball and still had a first down per play. 11. And then, granted, you get a 93-yarder and a 75-yarder. That's gonna skew the numbers a little bit, but it's also not like we watched the game and we're like, oh, you take those two plays away and the defense locked them down and made them go, 10 plays, 8 minutes, and they scored, but they only had 9 third downs. They were 3 for 9 on third down. But I do think we saw. It's funny that this is now brought up, the D line wrinkle on the last drive. I think we did see what Jalen Daniels' issues are as a quarterback. Now, we didn't see him until the last drive of the game, and he's obviously in a tough spot. And I also I didn't understand calling play action pass when you have like 29 seconds left and need to get in field goal range, and then he's kind of running around scrambling, like some bad play. But like, he's not a read the field guy. Like his throws were see it, throw it, first read stuff, or he's outside the pocket and there's one throw I can make here. I mean, we saw that several times. And he threw several good balls on the sideline for big completions.
Right.
But like you saw it on the last drive when the picture was a little cloudier, it was harder for him to process process it and then let it rip to where it was supposed to go. I mean, that whole last drive, it seemed very discombobulated of how they wanted to attack it and where he was going to throw the ball. Conversely, you look at UC's last drive now, they obviously had more time and a timeout and things of that nature, but like their calls were very clean. Sorsby, threw the ball, where he saw when he wanted to, and there's just a big distinction there that And that kind of just goes to my point of when you know you have a quarterback like that, you can't just let him take the snap and be like, oh, there's my guy, boom. You've got to give him some different pictures. You've got to, like, there were, and I'm just saying this offhand,
Right.
like, there were no, it didn't look like there were any situations where, like, we mugged up some linebackers and then dropped them into coverage or brought two guys, pulled a guy out from one side and brought extra guys on the other side. Like, give him a pre-snap look and then change it at the snap. It felt just very, here's our 3 or 4 guys. We're going to try to win some one-on-ones, which didn't happen. And we're going to play our coverages behind and hope for the best and hope for the best and rally and tackle. And, I don't think the tackling was bad outside of the 2 plays where, no one could tackle the guy because he's open and super fast. It wasn't like they had, a bunch of extra yards because guys were around the ball, but then missing tackles.
But that, I mean, a lot of that goes to kind of what we talked about, though, where it's just like, they give whoever they're playing, like they just kind of write it off. Like, we'll just try to, stop them just enough that our offense can give us enough points to win.
Yeah.
And there's no like extra effort to make it.
I think
I heard the D-line thing.
When you have an offense that you think it can do this, like, I would be more willing to take a few more chances because, like, okay, we missed. We took a chance and they beat us. Okay, offense is going to go get it back.
Right. You would think that, like, maybe
and then we took a chance and we got it. Now we're giving it to the offense in a short field, or we had a defensive touchdown, or, like, take some of these, a little bit more of these risks. And I'm not even saying that they're that big of risks.
Yeah, like, don't play, like, not asking anybody to play reckless, but, like, maybe do something a little bit more different that doesn't seem as, like, vanilla out there on the whole.
Outside of next week against Iowa State, who I think is pretty darn good, there's not a team on the schedule the rest of the way that has an offense. I mean, I liked Baylor's offense. I liked TCU's offense, but, like, the last few weeks they haven't been any like there's not a team that I'm just like, oh, we can't play like that because they might shut our offense down.
Like, yeah, and traditional. I mean, in the Big 12, you're not gonna have some monster scary defense coming at you.
So I mean, I would like. I mean, maybe a lot of it is. It's hard for me to think that having your nose tackle out changes that much about how you
everything
play coverage. But I don't think it's a formula to be in a lot of situations like this, where then. And the offense wasn't perfect by any stretch. I mean, they left a lot of points on the field, whether it was their fault or the officials. But there were no turnovers. There was, I think, 1 3-and-out, and Fletch punted the ball very well. He was over 50-yard average. All 3 punts were inside the 20-yard line. Special teams did their job. Steven Rusnick is clearly a solid kicker. I mean,
yeah,
he hasn't missed a field goal or extra point all year. So, like, the special teams element is doing their job. The offense, for the outside of passing the ball against Nebraska, has been more than fine. I mean, and so if the defense can figure out a way to clean some of this up, and just give, have a, I don't know what the reason is. I would love to have that intimate conversation of, like,
that behind closed doors, behind the scenes look.
A trust thing? Is it just, this is just the way we do it? Because I watched a lot of the Iowa State game a good amount of the Iowa State Arizona game last night, and and they don't do a ton of it either. So maybe it truly just is that, and they just have good like different level of defensive back right now, different ways that they call the structure of the, but I do still think at times last night I watched that they brought some extra pressure. I just didn't feel like we did that at all yesterday, and I might have missed them. I might have just be spacing out on it. It just did not feel like you saw Golday up on the line as much at the snap.
Kind of flashing forward and then
obviously they're not going to have as many tackles. Him and the linebackers aren't going to have as many tackles in a game like this where Kansas is throwing it as much as they did and not really running it, especially in the second half. But things to correct. But you win the game. Now you have 3 out of your next 4 at home against Iowa State's damn good. Yeah, it's going to be a bear. Hopefully the place is rocking. Hopefully we can make some plays. But the 3 after that, I mean,
Iowa State and then UCF, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Utah, Arizona. So
I mean, the direct 3 is what I'm focusing on right now because I feel like we're starting to get an idea of what teams are. I think they've got a real chance here to put a nice streak of good play together, but they've got to find a way to fix and tweak the defense to where it's not so vanilla, it's not so
like it almost feels like, and I don't like. I mean, this just popped in my head, and I was like, it almost feels like the defense that you see. Like in those Bowling Green, Northwestern State kind of games where they don't want to put anything on film.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what it felt like, but this is like not a game that you like do that. No. And I guess it's a little easier to like make these kind of like critiques like this when we're on the smiling side of the scoreboard, as they call it. But
yeah, I mean, it certainly is. Because like if UC lost the game, they say they don't, Noah Jennings doesn't make that catch. UC loses that game. We're sitting here going, the offense did
everything they could do.
Everything we could have asked for. The special teams did everything we could have asked for. The defense forced 1 turnover but couldn't get stops because they didn't change the picture for Jalen Daniels. They made it too easy, and then they had a couple busts.
Yep.
And you're going to have busts. Like, you're playing good offenses. Like, Baylor is probably going to hit him with a big play. TCU probably going to hit him with a big play. Like, teams are going to make good plays on you. But like it can't just always look the same. Like, my critique of the offense over the last couple of years was I felt it was, like, very static. Like, you came up to the line of scrimmage and you didn't give the defense, like, anything to really account for. And defensively now, I feel like we're kind of in that same mold where it's like, here's what we're going to do. And you can do that if you have like an amazing defense. Be like, here's what we're going to do. You can know what we're going to do, but it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's the case. So
I don't know. But as we kind of like wrap this up here, I do want to go back to that. Like the thing that we've beat into the ground a lot is like falling apart going into the half. And I thought it was going to happen. I think that was our only 3 and out maybe of the game. Like we 3 and out, and then we turned around and made them go 3 and out. And I realized like whatever that gets called back, and then we break a big run. But sometimes you need that kind of stuff. I mean, I would have been just happy with stopping them, keeping it, and going into the half at 17-13. Like if that's what happened. But like I also do appreciate the fact that I don't know that they bust a big run. Maybe they were going to pack it in if they don't get a big run like that. That's okay. But they were able to capitalize on it and then went in with a touchdown lead going into the half, which, I mean, I don't know how many times, like we've said before, that going into the half, we have like this little bit of a lead or we feel like we have some momentum of some sort and it gets snatched away. and it always seems like the other team gets the ball at the half, and then all of a sudden now we're down 14 or 10 or whatever, and then things unravel. So
yeah, I mean
that
that's a
was
great point with Kansas getting the ball to start the second half. Like, not even that UC went down and scored. It was just that you kept them from scoring to where then they couldn't
double dip.
take momentum and do the old double dip. Real quick, do you have a favorite terrible moment by the officials? Because there's a lot to pick from. I mean, we don't need to go into it too detailed, but I do think there's some funny. Like, is there any?
I can say this.
What was your favorite terrible call that they made or didn't make?
I watched most of the game on my cell phone while I was at my son's football game, and I didn't miss the face masks.
The guys broadcasting the game were calling them in real time.
Yeah.
From watching on the monitor, and the umpire who's standing 5 yards away from the play couldn't see it.
Yeah, there were several times where it happened, and I was like, "Oh, here we go, here it comes," and then nothing. So, I mean, I thought that it was in fact pretty atrocious. Obviously, like, it's easier to like make fun and mock it
Sure.
when you're on the winning side. Even though we still had nine penalties called on us. It wasn't 68 yards, and they had 5 for 26 yards. So there you go.
I think I'm going to have a tie between the block in the back on the punt return, which was just a joke, and the roughing the passer on Simeon Coleman, where 4 of his fingers hit Jalen Daniels' shoulder and his pinky finger grazed his face mask, and they called roughing the passer. And just hat tip to the entire game and the entire crew for not calling an illegal forward pass on the last play of the game when Kansas is doing the pitchy woo woo and throws it like 3 yards ahead of the guy, and they don't even bother to call a flag there. Is an amazing homage to how the entire game was officiated.
Like, and I don't know. Like, at this point, we have like, AI has gotten so good that can we please just get like a review of the refs after the game with the AI just making a montage of all of the horrendous calls that were made.
Yeah, I mean, it's so ridiculous. Yeah, I think, we've got all the commenters. I mean, like, I actually don't think Grover was in. I do think his elbow touchdown, or his arm or whatever touchdown, just before the ball hit the goal line. But that one could have easily been reviewed. No review there. Coach Dan mentions the illegal block in the back. I thought that was terrible. I don't think when Kansas had now maybe they adjusted it after the fact and didn't then do it on the TV. Like, we couldn't tell. But I'm pretty sure that they didn't on their illegal touching call. I don't think they actually assessed the yardage at first, or maybe didn't at all. Our illegal touching penalty, I think, is the wrong call, but I kind of he was out of bounds, but not technically out of bounds because his foot hadn't touched out of bounds yet, but like half of his body was out of bounds, and then he got shoved like almost simultaneously as his foot touching but again, like, he was clearly shoved. It wasn't like he went out totally on his own. You're just trying to like marry up whether he got touched first or stepped out of bounds first. I mean, the two face masks, the one penalty on Buford, it was just a montage of garbage.
I don't understand how you, like, as an official, like, there, like, when you're an official, like, there are spots you're watching, right? And like, when a runner, when a football player with the ball has his head turned completely sideways, almost 180 degrees behind him.
Evan Pryor's long run at the end of the first half. He is basically on the sideline. There is one player out there, and the player grabs his face mask. What the fuck is the side judge looking at? The official is running down the field. You're staring at the guy with the ball. Like, what are you looking at to not see that? It's not like there's a bunch of linemen in your way. It's like you and him are the only people between him and the goal line until the safety comes from the other angle to tackle him. I'm like, how is that one even possible to not see?
I don't know. I don't
mean,
know how
I'm
it's
sure there
possible.
were bad calls for Kansas, like,
Yeah, but I'm not. I wasn't.
but I also don't care.
Yeah.
And there weren't like there certainly weren't like egregious level calls where the guys announcing the game are like, oh man, that looked like a face mask in real time, and then they show the replay and it's like, yeah, sure was.
Well, like the trap block one, when they went back to it, all of a sudden, I think it was Golick. Like I said, I was like kind of listening on my phone, like whatever. But he was like, "Oh, I don't agree. That's bad. I don't agree with that at all." Like how, like you really don't see, or like at least hear, like booth guys like just like full on.
Oh,
letting the
like,
I mean,
that was rough. That's a rough look.
Yeah. So, I know you mentioned it. TNT, I thought did have a really good.
I enjoyed it.
A really good broadcast. I tweeted something else out because after that game, like I'd been watching it. Obviously, they're like the clarity of the game, the score bug. I think might be the best one.
I think it is. I mean, that's
out
the thing
there.
that I noticed. I watched. Who did I watch? Like week 1, I was watching. Maybe it was week 1 or week 2. Arizona, Hawaii, maybe was on TNT, and I was like, "Oh, I like the score bug. This is very clean."
Yeah, it was really nice. The announcers seemed to like maybe they had done some research on the teams.
Yeah, that's always nice when it seems like the announcers know what they're talking about.
Yeah, like no, they don't just like kind of like make stuff up while they're going along. That
they do have some freedom with like they're not butted up against another game, so they can talk about the game after. They can get an interview with Sorsby. But I mean, it's great coverage for the Big 12. I hope that UC gets more TNT games. I encourage people to watch as many of the Big 12 games that are on TNT as possible. It was at no point was I like there's a couple times on the 4-letter network broadcasts where I'll be like, what are they talking about? Like about a team or and I didn't feel like there was yes, they missed like the touchdown in the deep corner. Sometimes that's just the way that the cameras are set up, and
getting to it is kind of
depending on how the camera angle is and everything can be. They maybe stayed on that camera angle too long. Should have flipped it to a different camera angle. I don't know. I'm not into the production.
Maybe that guy was sneezing or something and he didn't hit the right button.
But all in all, yes, I thought it was a strong telecast and would love to have more games on TNT moving forward.
Yeah.
We've got like 12 minutes left to touch on a lot of college football yesterday.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what happens when you win a game and it's exciting and there's a lot to talk about.
And that's okay.
We obviously won't be able to touch on everything. Are there one or two games that you feel like we need to hit on?
Florida State, Virginia. Friday.
That was a humdinger.
That was a good one. Going back all the way down to the fact that I think I don't know, and I know that this has been all over everywhere, but I don't know that I've seen a stadium empty onto a field faster.
Well, it's because everyone was standing on the sidelines for like 15 minutes before the game ended.
It was wild. How quickly they came out! Like I felt bad. The kid from Florida State
were already on the field.
The kid from Florida State hit the ground. The pass was incomplete, and then he disappeared.
Yeah.
So yeah, is Virginia really good, or did Florida State kind of level out? I don't know.
I think Virginia's got a good offense. I think that was just a tough. That was always going to be like a sneaky road. I mean, lots of people were picking Virginia to win that game outright.
Like a difficult one to get into. We'll skip the other Friday night game as it was a Big 12 matchup, and that's Aaron and Chad territory, and Notre Dame.
Ooh, that might have been Sam Pittman's last hurrah. That was
I don't know. Somebody was saying brought up his buyout there.
He does have an interesting buyout. We don't need to get into it, but it's very interesting based on winning percentage.
Yeah.
Stick SEC. Obviously, we can go Bama, Georgia. Just a just a good, solid football. I mean, it's just a good. I watched the majority of my attention was mainly on the Oregon Penn State game.
That's where I was at as well.
But it's a big win for Bama.
The front of ESPN said, "Is Bama back?"
back from what? Like being a top 10, 15 team? Like I don't know.
Back from obscurity.
Penn State, Oregon. Can I just this is just maybe my idiosyncrasies. Like in that environment, in a whiteout with Penn State wearing blue and Oregon not wearing their classic green and yellow uniforms is a travesty. Like, what are we doing? Wearing gunmetal and white in a game that is set up so perfect visually for you to wear your classic old school helmet with the duck on it. Like what are we doing with uniforms? Iowa State's wearing black and white last night.
Yeah.
I turned that game on and I was like, who's who?
Yeah, I had no idea in that one because Arizona was in
all red.
Yeah, which
if I was the commissioner of college football, the first thing I would do would say that if black is not one of your primary colors, you cannot wear black uniforms.
But then you have to go to Oregon and be like, look, you can't just change uniforms every week. You
your
can't
colors are green and yellow. You can make whatever variations of that you want, but those are your uniforms.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Yeah, so I mean
that was a good game. The Oregon.
I love Dante Moore, man. I've actually gotten to watch a bunch of him this year for whatever reason. I think he is real freaking good for a redshirt sophomore, and is gonna be a really, really good player.
Yeah, he was fun to watch. That's the first time that I've really watched any of Oregon. To be honest, watched it, and it was. I mean, that obviously was. Goes into double overtime, whatever. Unfortunate for Drew Aller there to not see the guy.
They tried to run the tight end behind the play, and Dylan Thieneman read that thing.
You can't read it any better because he ended up with a pick. I mean,
Purdue transfer, Dylan Thieneman.
And it's kind of hard to. I mean, he had gotten beat earlier, and he scooted over there, and he's not very big. And just kind of sprung up in the air. I honestly, I don't know that Aller even saw him ever. That it would be a chance. I mean, he didn't get a lot of air under it. But it was a great play. Yeah, I mean, considering Dante Moore gets totally tricked and flicks one, the same issue happened to him, except the guy that intercepted that one was 6'5".
Well, yeah, on the 2-point conversion.
Yeah. And then just ran out of steam. If that's if that's a DB catching that, it's probably 2 points there.
That would have been crazy.
So
Ole Miss, Crypt Keeper says Ole Miss runs a very good 3-3-5. They've got a lot of highly paid players too. That definitely helps. But that game, I want to know. I would have liked someone in the post-game press conference to go up to Brian and say, is now an okay time to ask you about the offense? Because it wasn't after the Florida game, but now that you haven't scored more than 23 points yet this season, can we ask you about the offense now?
No, absolutely not. He'll lose his mind on that one too.
If you're not on Twitter or socials or whatever, and you're not following Lane Kiffin's antics, you're really missing out. Really, really missing out. I mean, post game, he thanked his fans for not storming the field and not costing them $500,000. And someone asked him what that buys you in the transfer portal, and he said half of one of LSU's defensive backs.
Yeah, he's still Lane Kiffin. He's just a more refined Lane Kiffin on some of that stuff. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, he on the field after the game, he was
talking about the over.
He told him he needed to go find apparently his daughter's boyfriend to ask him if they hit the over or not. It's just
yeah, he's I don't know. good for him. And
Indiana's quarterback post game says when he took a safety to end the game, said he's sorry for screwing up a bunch of people's bets, but he had to do what he had to do. So they won by 5 instead of 7. That game was on Peacock, thankfully, because it sounds like it was, not exactly the most aesthetically pleasing game. So not being able to watch that one wasn't a heartbreaker for me.
your Volunteers
escaped. Well, putting it nicely, escaped.
Hey, that's gotta happen sometimes during the season. Get out of there with a win. That's all that matters.
Ohio State, very businesslike out in Washington.
Yeah, it appeared closer for a little while than it probably really was.
I was watching a little bit. It was a great afternoon for the YouTube TV quad box. They were finally able to give me a week where like I liked all 4 games, and it wasn't just like one random game that I had no interest in watching. I watched that a little bit, but yeah, it never felt like Washington was really going to threaten them.
No. BYU Colorado, that was a late one. Colorado was still
the league game.
Yep, you're right. I know, but they were winning early. Aaron can look into it deeper later, I guess. That was just the late game that was on when I was like falling asleep.
I'm trying to think if
Georgia Tech snuck away with one against Wake Forest.
Yeah, there was a real bad non-offsides call in that game against Georgia Tech that I guess cost like one of those free play type deals where then the rest didn't call it. And let's see, man. We get ranked Vandy versus ranked Alabama next week. I think I saw earlier that hasn't happened since like 1937. Illinois USC.
Vandy being ranked?
Alabama, yeah. Vandy being ranked and playing Alabama when both teams are ranked. Illinois USC was entertaining. Illinois wins it on a field goal at the end. I don't think I saw anything. Auburn's offense is terrible. Hugh Freeze. Not sure that's working. Not surprised.
I'm saying I gotta look at this now.
Other than that, I don't have. It was a lot of good games, but like nothing. It wasn't a bunch that like just jumped. Usually we'd get some stuff in some secondary and tertiary games that.
Next week there's a big one in Ann Arbor. So
yeah, big one for one team. The other team might not score.
I don't know if it's really going to be a big one actually for either team, other than what the number of points they put up.
Yeah. No. But Bearcats in the NFL, Trey Tucker. That's the only guy I care to talk about.
Yep, I was going to say he continually keeps popping up.
3 touchdowns last week. I think he scored their only touchdowns against the Commanders. Big game, over 100 yards. Nice to see. Vikings about to kick off, or maybe already did. So you got some Bearcats in that game. With I don't even know where they're playing. London, Berlin.
They might have scored all the points that they have for the season last week. So.
Dublin,
Luxembourg,
they're in Dublin.
Copenhagen, who knows? No idea where they're playing these games in Europe because they're playing them everywhere now.
Yeah, great.
Right now, Brazil is starting to get games. Who knows?
Just expand everywhere.
But yeah, we are right on it. So thanks again to everyone. Love everybody that comes and joins us every Sunday morning. Really appreciate you guys. Sounds like the game Saturday is a sellout / like pretty much a sellout. So if you haven't gotten tickets, get tickets. Get there early. Make some noise. Get these Bearcats to 2-0 in the Big 12. Thanks to Aaron. Thanks to Jeff. Thank you, Cincy Light. Thanks, of course, to Royal Links Golf Tours. And we will see you again next Sunday to recap what is hopefully another Bearcats win on the Bearcat Brunch. Have a great Sunday, Cincinnati.